So who is Char and Shar anyway?
Just another interracial couple on YouTube.
We're a couple that live together, play together, and love together 24/7.
Guess what today is? It's story time. We're going to talk about how Char and I met.
And so be sure to subscribe, ring the bell, like, and be sure to watch to the end.
Make sure you watch this to the end. Now, we didn't make this for nothing. So my name's Char with a C.
And I'm Shar with an S.
And we're not here to sell you something.
We're here to share something.
Now, we're going to start with Char.
So, okay, we're gonna talk about how we met and everything. So, just to give you a little bit of background, in 19-something, I moved to Puerto Rico, sold everything that I had, decided to move to Puerto Rico with the dream in mind to become fluent in Spanish and all that. A lot of things happened. Kuwaiti War, Eastern went bankrupt, a bunch of other things happened, and I decided to move to Florida. So I moved to Florida and liked it, discovered that I liked Florida as a place of vacation, but not necessarily to live. So I went back to where I had originally moved from and wanted to find a church. And just to go back a little bit, before I had moved from Florida, I had, really prayed and asked God to, show me the next steps. And one of the things that I knew that was next for me was to get married, and just to have what I considered a normal life and stability. Because up until that point, I had kind of moved a lot, just getting better apartments and, getting different jobs and stuff like that. So anyway, what I did when I was in Florida, before I moved back to the city that I had came from originally, I put down on a piece of paper everything that I wanted in a mate or a husband, and everything that I wanted. And then I asked God to give me everything that I actually needed. One of the things that I definitely wanted was somebody that was very much like my dad, because my dad was just a great, to me, father, husband, and I wanted someone like him. And so anyway, I had that list, prayed over it. Then I moved back to the city I had originally moved from, and I found a church and went to that church and to a Bible study with a girlfriend of mine. And that's when I first saw Char. And
I think it was in November, wasn't it?
It was in November. And I saw you. We were waiting for them to open up the sanctuary because they were praying and everything.
I always got to church early.
Yeah.
She always got there late.
Right. So
pastor's preaching. We gotta wait till everyone sits down.
But anyway, so me and my girlfriend, we were waiting for them to stop praying because we were a little bit late. So you must have been late too, because you were out in the lobby too.
That might have been the only time I've ever been late.
Maybe you were there with your friend the first time.
It was an ordained moment.
So it was Char. We were against the wall. It was Char, my girlfriend, and then me. And he bent down and said something to her in her ear, and I bent over to my girlfriend and I said, "What did my husband say to you?" And oh my God, when I said that, I was like, what in the world did I just say? Because I don't even know this guy. When I saw him, I thought, oh, he's kind of cute or whatever. But other than that, that was the first time I ever saw him. Didn't know anything about him. Never saw him at the church before. And my girlfriend whispered in my ear. She said, "You're so crazy." And I said, why did I just say that? I'm thinking, why did I just say that? She said, "Why don't you say something to him?" I said, "No, I'm not going to say anything to him because I don't talk to guys, first. They got to approach me because that's how I was raised. And then I know that they're really interested in me." So anyway, I saw him. I would see him every so often, and actually, when he would look in my direction, I would always wave at him, regardless if I always sat in the back. He always sat in the front.
She do this little like, hey.
Yeah.
I look at him like, what? Person behind me? And I said, no, there ain't nobody's behind me. I said, she must be looking at me.
And I would go like point at him and go and wave, and then that's about it. And my girlfriend, she would always be next to me, and she would always laugh and everything. And we just pretty much did that for about 5 months. I think Char was dating or going out with different girls. I was going out with a few guys from our singles ministry and everything, but it was nothing serious. Maybe going a couple of dates. I actually hated dating, literally. But anyway, so. For about 5 months, we would look at each other, smile, see each other, but not really say anything. One time I did get my hair cut. I remember the guy that I was going out with, he didn't even notice I got my hair cut. And Char, he was with the girl he was dating, and he looked at me and stopped, and he said, "You got your hair cut, right?" And I was like, yeah.
You gotta give him a compliment if you want to get him.
So anyway, that was kind of surprising and everything. But anyway, so for like 5 months, we just kind of did that. But so one day in April, it was actually Good Friday, I was going to go to an outside concert or event that was in downtown of our major city. And my girlfriend suggested that I go with her and her husband to what they called the Passion Play, which was outside in the streets.
During Easter.
The reenactment of the resurrection of Christ or whatever. And so I did go with her. I didn't want to because I didn't want to be a third wheel, but she said I'd be fine. I always hung out with them. But anyway, so I went, and lo and behold, and I had my godson. Now, my godson was always with me. We're actually the same color. He looks nothing like his mom, pretty much. He looks more like me. And so Char always thought that my godson was my child because he was my...
I really don't remember that part. I don't remember seeing you with your godson until the Passion Play.
Oh.
I'll tell my part when I get to my stories. Okay. This is her version of the story. I don't remember that part.
Okay.
But I have my version coming up.
Okay. So anyway, I always had my godson, and he was with me at the play. For some reason, my girlfriend and her husband went off someplace else. I think her husband sang in the choir or whatever. So I had my godson, and lo and behold, the first person I saw when I got there was Char, and he immediately came up to me and started talking to me. Now, let me just go back a little bit. When I had dated different guys, which I hated, one of my ex-boyfriends told me, because I told him how much I hate dating and everything, he told me that I was dating all wrong. And I said, well, what do you mean? He said, you need to find a man who's looking for a wife. And you need to let them know that you're looking for a husband. I said, oh my God, that's like genius. So what I started doing was telling all the guys I was going out with that I was looking for a serious relationship that was going to lead to marriage, and they would run. But when I saw Char at the play, and I told him that, I mean, like within probably 5 minutes of our conversation, because I was like, whatever, he's going to run too. He said, great, because I'm looking for a wife. And then I was like, huh. And then that's kind of how we just talked. And
actually, it was pretty embarrassing. I said, I'm looking for a house, and I'm making about $750. We could probably get one together, huh? I mean, I was like, how old, 22 or something. I didn't know how much houses cost. I thought a $7.50 hour job could do the trick.
Yeah, and when he said that, I was thinking, I don't think I want to date this guy because he should be really embarrassed, and he has the nerve to tell me that he's making $750. Mm-hmm. Okay. But anyway, I'll let you start in on your version, and then we'll go a little bit deeper.
Well, she'll interrupt me during this because there's a lot that I want to say. Probably that will have to be some interjection to get a better understanding of the details. She's better with the detail. So I'll say a little something and she'll chime in. So basically my perspective of how I met Char is, number one, I moved back home with my parents for a short time after serving in the Army. And, I actually was married in the Army, and but that didn't work out. I divorced, and that didn't work out. So I was pretty upset about my life and, messing up life and messing up things in life. And I was just kind of desperate for change. And at that point, I said, I was just in my room. I just wanted to give my life to God. Just really, really, I got sick and tired of being sick and tired. I just really decided, I want to do something different. But I didn't know how to really get there. I was just 22 at the time. Or actually...
Yeah, you were 22.
No, I was 22 when I met you. I was 21 when I got saved.
Oh.
And so then I had a little walk with the Lord for a short time right before I met Char. But I was still a newbie in the Lord. I didn't really know a whole lot. And so I had a lot of rough edges. She got me with a bunch of rough edges. And she got that little sanding rod, started sanding me down. I didn't like that too much. She'll talk about how she sanded down my rough edges. And I still got some rough edges, huh? But I know I got some rough edges still. We all probably do. But getting back to the story here, since this is story time about how I met Char, I was desperate for change, and I wanted to, really understand what this thing called love was. What is being married? What is that all about? And I didn't really have a clue. I thought it was just the physical. That's really all I knew. And so the job I was working at the time, I met a coworker who told me about a church he was going to, and I said, well, I had this desire to go to church because after I give my life to Jesus Christ, I said, I feel like I'm empty. I need to get filled up with something. I'll probably find it at the church. So funny thing is, he invited me to go to his church. And the church that he invited me to was the place I actually met Char at. And I was like, well, that's interesting. So now here comes the best part, right? So now I met Char in the lobby of the church like we were just talking about, right? That I was visiting. So when she says, he leaned over to say something, I really don't remember what I leaned over to say. I don't know if I said, hey, excuse me, where's the bathroom? I don't know what I said to the person. I don't know, hey, look at that seat taken next to you or whatever. Or I don't know if I was trying to I don't know what I was doing. But anyways, I forgot what I said. But to say to the girlfriend to get a hold of Char's attention. But I didn't talk to her for about 5 months because I was trying to get my life together and I didn't feel right talking to someone in church. I said, well, shoot, I need to get my life together first, find out who I am first before I started trying to hook up with someone else. So I want to get my life right with God to find out who I was, which I'm still trying to find out who in the world I am. 50 years later.
But you said that when you first saw me, just like I knew that you were going to be my husband, that you said that you knew I was going to be your wife.
I kind of had a feeling, because I really believe
even though you didn't know me.
I really believed something got a hold of me when I said, hey, I'm making $7.50 an hour. We could get a house together. Something about me was like talking about stuff like it was...
No, I'm talking about in the lobby.
Oh, in the lobby?
Yeah.
I don't know what are you talking about?
When you first saw me in the lobby.
I don't remember.
You don't?
Mm-mm.
Oh.
So I don't remember any of that stuff. All I remember is I was trying to get settled in.
Did you lie?
With somebody
no.
that could teach me about love,
Okay.
And so I didn't know what love was. I thought, but maybe if I get married, I'll figure it out as I go. And so I know a lot of times people when they meet people, they're like, let's read every book. Let's figure out personalities. Let's figure out all these things before. I went in blind and dumb. And I didn't know what I was getting myself into. And it was totally life-changing for me. Because I didn't really understand, a lot about life until I got married to Char. She really opened my eyes to a lot of things. So I talked with Char the first time, like she was saying, outside of the church at an Easter Passion Play event. And that's when I saw her with this godson that she was talking about. But to me, that's the first time I saw him. And she was holding his hand. And then I saw her, Char had a smock, and the smock kind of went out. Back in the day, that's what it was really popular. smocks back in the day. That kind of shows you how old we are. Back in the day, the styling trends that were back in the day. If you showed a millennial what a smock was, they'd be like, "What's a smock?" But anyways, it's a different style of clothes. So anyways, so she thought she was pregnant at the time. I said, "Well, shoot, I guess I don't remember her being pregnant, but man, I really think I should be with this woman." And so I said, "Well, if she's pregnant, she has a kid, I guess I just have an instant family. I go ahead and take them both." And so I come to find out, though, that she wasn't pregnant. It was just a smock that was poking out. And the boy's hand wasn't her son. It was her godson. So that was an interesting thing. And but I met her outside of the church in the Passion Play. Then after that, we went to TCBY to get a yogurt. And we sat down on the steps and we talked. And, now you want to say something about McDonald's?
So
not the story about McDonald's.
So Char and I, at this event with my godson, we probably talked for over an hour or so until it was over. I don't even remember the event or anything. We weren't even paying attention to it. We just were talking the whole time. And actually, what I really liked about him at that time, even though he told me how much he made, and I was not impressed with that, what I did like is...
She didn't tell you, but she was dating people that made a whole lot more than me.
Right.
They could have hooked her up with a better house and better home and everything else. All I had was $750. What is this chump going to do?
Right. So, but what I did like about him that was different than other guys, because I always had dated pretty much older guys, never a younger guy. And he's much older. He's much younger than me. What I did like is I felt like he had an innocence about him. And so I was like, wow, who would tell? There's no guy that I've ever met who would tell me.
No guy in his right mind.
Yeah, they don't even tell you how much they make, let alone, I mean, there was, especially on the within the first hour, which was ridiculous.
Yes, sister girl, come with me. I got a bank. I'm making payroll, girl. Come with me, girl.
So anyway, so that was, that kind of sparked the interest for me. And then the other thing is we just had a really good conversation, in that hours and, talking about, that I told him I was looking to purchase a home and he said he wanted to purchase a home and he said something crazy like, why don't we look for a home together and put our money together? And I'm thinking, I don't even know you. So anyway,
that was one of the first things we did.
Yeah,
we joined our checking account.
Right. So anyway, so from that, he asked me if I wanted to go out to eat, after the event.
He goes to McDonald's.
So anyway, I said sure, and we were walking to his car because I told my girlfriend, I'm gonna get a ride home with this guy that I met. She already kind of saw him at church, so she was like, "Ooh, whatever." So anyway, we're walking to his car, and he said, "Do you want to go to McDonald's?" And I was like, I don't even eat at McDonald's. I haven't eaten at McDonald's since I was 16.
I had about $5. I was trying to get the 99-cent meal. Can I get a bigger amen? All y'all out there, come on. Don't act all snooty and Rudy Tooty, because I know all y'all, somebody in my audience out there has gone to the 99-cent meal. Now raise your hand. Which one of y'all? Don't leave the brother hanging. I know somebody out there is a 99-cent value deal. Come on. Okay. Happy Meal.
So anyway, we're walking to the car. He asked me if I wanted to go to McDonald's, and I've been married before too. So my whole thing is I am not trying to act like I like something if I don't like something.
Snooty.
So if I start a certain way, the relationship is going to end that way. So I said I'm going to nip this in the bud and let him know.
She nipped it not the bud. She nipped it at the root.
So I told him, I stopped in my tracks and I said, I'm just going to tell you something right now. I said, first of all, I don't eat at McDonald's.
Uptown girl.
I said, and second of all, I'm not going to pretend that I'm going to want to eat at McDonald's. I said, so if there's
my pocketbook felt really sad that day. My pocketbook felt really sad that day.
So I said, if there's some place you want to take me, you can take me, but I don't eat at...
I'll take you home. Ain't got no much more to give me more money, girl. Can I take you home? We can play a board game. That's all I got time for.
So anyway, and I told him I don't eat at fast food restaurants. I told him the only one I did eat at was Chick-fil-A. I said, so I'm not. I said I'm not about playing games.
But see, this whole conversation, you didn't tell him it happened in the parking lot. I had to pull into, I think it was Bennigan's parking lot.
No, that was a different date.
But anyways, one of the parking lot stories we have to tell you where we had a serious talk about ending it in the parking lot because I didn't know if I could afford her after that one meal. It cost about what, $8 a head?
No, it's $5.
Okay.
Okay. So anyway, go back to McDonald's. So I just told him. I wasn't trying to be snooty, but I was just telling him who I am. And who I am is I do not eat at fast food restaurants. I eat, I don't eat at Chick-fil-A, but otherwise I eat at more healthy places. And I nipped it in the bud. And he looked at me like I was crazy. But then he said...
But I appreciate her pulling me out of my comfort zone because every now and then, some brother had to be pulled out and go on to the next level. So I moved on from McDonald's and now I'm on to Bennigan's. eating $8 plates instead of the 99-cent meals. It was life-changing. And my stomach felt better too.
But anyway... he was a crystals man, if you can believe.
25-cent crystals. Yeah. Can I get anyone out there in the audience remember the 25-cent crystal with a little sliver of meat? You know, the kind that got stuck between your teeth and all that bread? That was what we ate growing up. And a pickle. Don't forget the pickle in there.
But anyway, so from there we decided to go out for yogurt. Instead of McDonald's or any place like that, and we went to what is it called? TCBY yogurt, and we and that's when I discovered that Charles. I actually first thought he was white, but then when I was in the light and looking at him closely, I said, do you got something in you?
I got something in me. Some heartburn after eating them crystals.
So at that point, he told me he was adopted and he didn't know what he didn't actually know his nationality or ethnicity or whatever. And he was just kind of guessing. He just threw out about 8 different things. Yeah,
because somebody asked me, so what are you? I say, I don't know what I feel like saying today. I'm Hispanic. A little bit Japanese. Oh yeah, I am a little bit Japanese. I take karate too. I mean, I would play with whatever they name me because literally, if you don't know your background, anything that someone calls you, I guess I am a little of that too. I can see that in me. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, so we talked till 12 midnight, and
on the phone.
Yeah, and then
we fall asleep on the phone.
And then he called.
Still breathing?
He called me when he got home, and he called me, and we talked again probably till 2 or 3 in the morning. And
those phone calls. Come on now, don't act like you had never been on the phone, falling asleep on 2 o'clock in the morning. Let me get a bigger amen on that. Come on.
So anyway, that's how we met. We met at church again. And then we first saw each other at church for the first time, and then we actually met at the Passion Easter play, and went on our first date that evening, which was at a yogurt place. And probably next we'll tell you about our second date and how he proposed to me, because he proposed to me 48 hours later.
Yeah, so you don't want to miss that one. That's pretty juicy too. So hey, if you like our story time about how we met video, do me a favor and click that button down there, that red subscribe button, and ring that bell, because you don't want to miss any of our future Love Reconciler videos. We have a lot more to share. We don't want you to miss them. And hey, introduce yourself to us in the comments. Tell us who you are. Tell us about how you met your first loved one, and we want to read all about it, and we want to hear all your stories too. So hey, thanks again for watching, and remember, love God more than anything,
and you'll do right by everything.
We love you. See you next Thursday.